The question that we've been asked is what is accounts payable and how do I use it in ULaw? Now, anytime you have an expense, right, office expense, you always have this button called accounts payable. Like you obviously have cash where you can choose petty cash, owner's pocket, or somebody's pocket like Jennifer or Fred, who could be an employee in your company. You can do that. And obviously bank is very clear. It could be your Visa or General. What is accounts payable? Accounts payable is, this is a payment on behalf of someone and you still owe them the money. Like for example, let's say a colleague of yours paid and you owe them the money, you can use accounts payable. Actually, you can also use owner's pocket. You can say expense, office expense, and you can say, hey, cash, Jennifer paid for it. You could do that. Or in accounts payable, you can click and say, hey, Abdir Singh paid for it. It's the same concept. Now, how did this drop down actually come? This drop down actually came from contacts. In contacts, we have two categories. In contacts, we have two categories. You see co-workers. These are all people who work with you in the company, and vendors. These are all companies to whom you basically might owe something because they produce an invoice and you're paying later. For example, Rogers Cable, they might invoice you on the 15th and you might pay them on the 30th. So, so you would create these contacts under vendor. So you can say add new contact, vendor, and you can, like, for example, say organization, and you can say Bell Canada Corporation, and you can hit the save. The minute you save a contact as a vendor or as a coworker, you will start seeing that it will start appearing in accounts payable. That could be under the matter. Like for example, let's say you're saying action and you're saying disbursement paid from general. If you mark it as accounts payable, you'll now see that everybody, all your coworkers and your your Bell Canadas and everything is all here. Like because there's an expense that you still owe them. Similarly, when you actually go to accounts and you can say action expense, office expense, let's say it's a Bell Canada fee, you can say it's some kind of long distance. So you can say maybe I have a category here for long distance phone. Here you go, Bell Canada Vancouver, that's long distance. You can say $120 total. It'll bring it up and mark it as accounts payable and say, hey, Bell Canada Corporation, and hit the submit button. Now what this means is that $120 has not been paid to Bell yet from your general account. So when it's time for you to pay that, you'll go to action, payments, and obviously you will choose vendors. It's not a coworker, so you choose vendors, and you can choose now Bell Canada Corporation. And you say, hey, that's the invoice that I put in. Choose that and pay it off from your general account on a future date. So very clear, any contact marked as a coworker or a vendor gets grouped as accounts payable. And then whenever you mark an expense, you always have a choice. It could be an expense, it could be payroll, it could be anything. Anything that is related to your spending. You can say in payroll, in-house clearing, right? You could do accounts payable there too. Anywhere wherever you're doing some form of expense, whether it's a disallowed expense or a client expense or an office expense, you could basically mark it as accounts payable. And once you mark it as accounts payable, when it's time for you to pay, you go to payments, you choose whether it's a coworker or a vendor, right? And then choose the appropriate vendor. In this case now, if I choose Bell Canada, obviously I don't have any amount, it's only $0. So even if I choose this, it's not going to allow me to pay anymore because I've paid everything back. So to summarize, accounts payable is very simple. Just create a contact as a vendor or as a coworker, and then you actually pay it, use that category under the expense, office expense, accounts payable, and put it there. And then when it's time to pay, you can use the action button and the payments button. We do not recommend this a lot for your internal coworker team. We strongly recommend that in chart of accounts, under the cash, you have several pocket accounts for all your coworkers like Jennifer, Fred, Amanda. And then when you actually mark an expense, right, like, office expense, you mark it as a pocket expense from Fred or Jennifer, and then you can do a bank transfer and pay them. That's also a recommended way. If you're not comfortable with accounts payable, you can go ahead and do it that way as well.